As you release your distortion patterns, you start to be able to tip into what I call an awareness of your big S self, or the self that's associated with spirit, where you have a much broader and much more expansive perspective of you in your life and your experience of your life. It's the perspective of spirit as you, as infinite, indestructible consciousness. So you're not as pinned down to what your mind dictates must be in order for an outcome to have been achieved. Do you see what I'm saying? It's less linear. You have a broader perspective.
I guess in my mind, I'm associating free will with the mind, but you're saying when you have more access to the big S self, that's where the free will comes in.
Yeah.
So how is free will associated with spirit?
Yeah.
Right? It's interesting.
Yeah. So it is interesting. So to me, when you are resonating higher and you're more associated with big S self, you have free will. Because, and especially at the higher and higher level orders, because you recognize that you have infinite indestructible consciousness. You're not mired or bound by distortion patterns that are being caused by a whole bunch of different things that are often coming from the human experience, such as the veil of forgetting, right? This feeling that we have that we're separate and disconnected, or all the distortion patterns coming from your lineage, or through your culture, or through religion. As you release your distortion patterns and as you become higher in your resonance and associate more with the big S self, you see the illusion of the physical reality. And that isn't as binding on you. And as a result, you make different choices. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because you're not as constrained by those distortion patterns which condition the way you think.
You're free.
Yes.
Free will.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So it changes. And so why we call this self-empowerment and free will is because as you make the choice to release your distortion patterns, which actually requires an act of free will, right? Which is the confirming of the removal of distortion patterns. I talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
If you, excuse me, if you don't remove the distortion patterns by yourself, meaning taking the act of conscious free will to do that, I can't do that for you. That's for you to do in your own journey. So you're exercising your free will, and the more you do that, the more free will you gain. It's almost like you're getting a bigger and bigger muscle as you release more and more of your distortion, as you start to also experience your big S self. It all kind of happens together, but they're reinforcing each other.